Okay, this is Frame Gride on the Dreamcast. This is the first, really it's the first Japanese import game that I ever played on the Dreamcast, so this would have been back in 2000. Whack! Get him! Whack! As you can tell, this is very similar to Virtual On, and the Dream... Oh, got him. Better run away. Yeah, Virtual On did have an original release in the arcades, and there was a Saturn version which was pretty good. But the Dreamcast sequel, which also came from an arcade game, was Virtual On 2 Oratorio Tangram. And I didn't like it. I didn't think it was very good, but this game seems, at least in my eyes, to be better. It seems to play a little bit more smoothly and a bit, well, it seems more entertaining anyway, at least to my eyes. So, big robots fighting each other. And some crab... hang on, what's he doing? I think he's part of the enemy. Or maybe he's just some guy that wants a piece of the action. Yeah, I'm not sure why this didn't come out in the West. There is a little bit of text at the beginning. It's... the way that you choose your character is almost like, a little bit like Kasumi Ninja in a way. So you walk down this corridor and you get asked these questions to say which kind of armour do you want, which kind of weapon do you want, which kind of blade do you want, and grenades and whatnot. And the idea is you can customise your mech, so it's not like you just pick one from a roster. You pick the different parts and it blends them all together, which is pretty cool. But the problem is, if you don't speak Japanese, which I certainly don't, despite saying I really want to learn Japanese to play Police Notes, but nah, never got around to it. Whack! Get him! The only way that I could figure out how to actually specify the character was to go on to GameFAQs and find a translation. But once you get into the game, yeah! Well, that's in English anyway. Okay then, so this is the second robot. So the gameplay is fairly similar. Ah! Stop shooting me. I'm trying to remember how to... Oh, there we go. Pressing the wrong button for jump. The game's quite similar to Virtual On. So you've got this sword or melee weapon, you've got a shot, and then you've got ability to block and jump, but the controls are a little bit strange because for some of the actions you have to press, so this is like your alternative actions, you press both triggers and you press the same buttons and you get like a, not a super weapon but a different weapon. And there's one that is like an evasion but it damages your health, which is quite a novel take. It's still pretty hard to target, just like Virtual On. The controls are a little bit odd, and I think, as in movement controls, are a little bit odd because you control it using... where's he gone? Oh, you control it using the D-pad, so the digital pad. But you look around using the analog one like that, but you've got to take your thumb off, and with the Dreamcast, as you probably know, it has, you know, just a single analog controller, and it really makes you wonder whether having two analogs would have benefited this game, and I'm sure it probably would have. So you have one analog to move and one analog to look around, which is... hang on, what's this? That's not the enemy. Yeah, a really nice looking game. I think this came out in 1999, so it wasn't a launch game for the Japanese Dreamcast, but it was a fairly early game, and I think they've done a really nice job of the graphics on this. It's quite simple, but they've aged really well, and the textures are pretty good as well. So I'm playing this through a VGA box just so you can get the slightly better resolution to have it running 60 Hz, which for this game I think is quite good because it runs really smooth. The first time I ever played this was, I think, as I said, in 2000, and a friend of mine bought it from GameStation in York that used to sell imports, and he had one of these. Oh, where's he gone? Ah, he had one of the. Try that again. Yeah, as I was saying, he had a magazine. It was one of the Dreamcast magazines, and it had a demo disc for one of the Action Replay cheat systems. But this almost like the secondary function of that disc, and I'm sure this was an accident. It's almost at the level of the Keo Flying Squadron accident with the disc. You're probably familiar with that. Is that even though it was a demo and it only had a limited number of cheats, you could use it to play import games. So it was a case of, you know, just myself just getting a copy of that magazine and using it for imports and as a, you know, cheap device. This was before the Utopia disc got released, which made things a lot easier, although I suppose slightly less legitimate, but you could still play imports with it. This guy's caning me. It's really hard, this game. Whack. Yeah, the other imports that I really enjoyed on the Dreamcast were the King of Fighters Dream Match, which was 98 if I remember correctly. I think they called it 99, but it was really 98. I'm getting killed. Yeah, Grumble Grumble. I used to like GameStation. It was brilliant because it used to do imports and all sorts of things. And we used to have a shop in Scarborough called the I think GameStation or Game Centre rather, and they used to have all these second-hand imports. And I asked them there, and I said, "Well, why did why do you have these import games in second-hand?" And he said that a lot of people bought games from GameStation in York, new rather, and sold them second-hand because they couldn't play them on the Dreamcast. They assumed that if it's an import game it would just play, and it didn't. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure if that was the case on all of them, but I got a load of import games quite cheap. They were about £10 each or even less, which, you know, wasn't a problem for me with the boot disc and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. I have to say, this really does look nice. The anti-aliasing on the Dreamcast is really doing a good job here. You can imagine that this would look quite jaggy on a PlayStation 1. I don't think this is really chucking around that many polygons, but I think it's just the texture quality and the model quality on the robots that's really standing out. I do like Japanese mechs. Not a huge fan of them, but I like the look of them. I know there are a lot of animes out there with mechs and things, and I tend to watch things for story rather than because it's got, you know, characters that look good. Hang on, where's it gone? It must be above me. Ah, there he is. You sod. Bog off. He's got some kind of shield. I don't know if I can do that. Oh, hang on, that's working. I do like the almost like the slugfest that you can have with these. Is that going to hit him? Go on. Yes. Whacking him while he's down. That's not really fair, is it? It's not really sporting. Yeah, I'd definitely recommend picking up this game if you can. I don't know how much it goes for now on eBay, because it was an early game. I'm not sure if it would be worth more or less. Ah, the magic of editing. I think my only gripe... Hang on, this is underwater. I think the only gripe with this game is that it takes an age to load, and it might just be a case of it being an early Dreamcast game, so the loading mechanism wasn't very efficient. I'm not sure. I don't know if the later Dreamcast games used compression or not. Oh, this guy's a bit of a big bugger. He's got some kind of wrecking ball. Go on. Ah! On the bottom left you've got this green power thing, so there are certain... Yeah, got it. There are certain weapons that need to be charged up to a certain level, so it's almost like having games where your weapons overheat and you've got to let them cool down. But I do prefer this game. It's difficult to explain why, but I do prefer it to Virtual On. I mean, the Dreamcast sequel I just didn't get on with. I don't even know if that came out in the UK, but the first one on the Saturn was okay, and I played it originally. I think it was on a demo disc. I can't remember what they were called now. The Sega Flash, I think. But yeah, I played the original, and it was okay, and then I played the full game, and it seemed a little bit repetitive. But I think this game seems to have a lot more variety in it. There was a similar one that came out. It was Spawn. I think it was the Spawn game that had some, well, questionably named characters. But it was similar that, you know, you're in an arena and behind a big robot, or monster in that case. Oh, bollocks. Oh, this one's a bit vicious. And you've got to whack an opponent. Ah. Yeah, I'm still not sure what this secondary opponent is. Whether that's some kind of support drone or whether it's just part of the level. Not sure. Ooh. Oh, I think I got lucky there. Hang on, I want to get out. Hang on, what's... Can I fall off this? No, I can't. Actually, that would have been pretty stupid if it had just killed me by letting me fall off the stage. Ah, crap! Don't hit the tree, hit him, her, it, thing. Ah, there we go. I'm just looking at the top right of the screen. You've got these little health bars, so it must be for the support units. Oh, that's a bit unfair. I don't think I've got one. Probably have to read the text a bit more. Get him! Oh, you sod. I think another criticism of this game perhaps is that there's not enough weapons. So you've got your, you know, your melee and your shoot, and you've got your alternates, but I think it limits you a little bit just by having those. But I don't know, it's fun anyway. I can't quite imagine having Street Fighter style controls, your quarter circles and things like that in a game like this. I don't think it would quite work, particularly as you're using the D-pad to move around. Ah, you sod, go on, get him. Ah, right, I think I'll leave it there. So this game, as I've said earlier, really is the first import I ever played on the Dreamcast, and I think it's a really nice example of a game to really show off the Dreamcast's capabilities. Well worth picking up if you can get hold of it. You might just have to use a guide to get through some of the menus, like this one as an example. I think there's an English translation floating around there somewhere, but I'm not sure. I've seen screenshots, but they're either mock-ups or it might even just be a patch to the game. But if you played that and you think it's useful, then do post a comment below. Right, thanks for watching.